What it do, and welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Wind Down, your favorite chat show, hosted by yours truly, Jer Bear, aka Jeremiah Neal, aka the pop culture maven, aka a sufferer of post-concert depression, y'all. Right off the bat, y'all, I have to let it be known, I'm so sorry if my energy is giving like melancholy vibes right now, but I have to say, PCD is such a real thing, a true feeling, and anyone that goes through this, I completely understand, girl. Like, I never thought I would be this emotionally attached to music, the feeling of going to concerts, meeting new people, vibing with the vibrations bouncing off the speakers, ruining my eardrums. That's my love language. And it's crazy how much life a concert can really give your girl. Nevertheless, I'm so glad that I popped my concert cherry. I know I keep talking about this, but shout out to Siku. What an incredible artist. So inspiring. My Gen Z artist, y'all. Oof, you just gotta get into it, y'all. But anywho, in brighter news, we finally made it to summer, y'all. I keep talking about this damn weather like I am Al Roker on that. But yes, the summer solstice finally hit New York, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it's been a little rainy since summer has started. But I guess it's kind of vibe. It's kind of reminded me of like my childhood and the nostalgia of like, you know, summertime and the thunderstorms in Florida and all that. Hopefully it doesn't interrupt Pride this weekend, because your girl definitely will be out there just observing, just seeing what's going on. But in all honesty, that's one thing I love about the seasons here. Like, you can actually see and feel and witness for your own eyes the changing of the seasons. For a while, y'all gotta think, I was in LA and the weather pretty much stayed the same there for like the majority of the year. It's either just hot during the day and cold at night, or during the winter just cold. So being in New York, I get to appreciate the now and being in the moment and witnessing the current state of what is, because before you know it, girl, time be passing by and then it's already a new season. Like, I really got to be outside this summer because I can't just skip to fall. We really got to be present, y'all. Okay. Anyway, y'all, I was doing some reflection on just life and, you know, where I'm at with my life. I don't know if any of y'all do that. We need to stop doing that and just live, because all this pondering and wondering with no action ain't gonna take us nowhere. But nevertheless, your girl loves to reflect on the glory days, I'd say. And some of my most favorite highlights of my life happened in the 2010s. That got me thinking, you know, although I'm headed in a very like peaceful trajectory and I'm claiming this job at the music label, but you know, I'm tackling the stuff I used to run away from. I used to be a very avoidant person, very shy, didn't want to face issues head on just because I wasn't really taught a lot about life. But now that life been dragging your girl through the mud for the last couple of years, and now that I'm coming out of this valley and I'm starting to see the light, it feels good. But there is a sense of me that does miss the past. I know we shouldn't do that, y'all, because we got to be in the moment, we got to be present. I just preached that to y'all. But something about life pre-pandemic was like, they always joke around and talk about we switch timelines and stuff like that, but there's some truth to that, y'all. I feel like it might be like the mindset of the collective of us as a humanity and what we project and how we perceive life. Feels like everything is a bit more like neutral / sad and melancholy, because before the pandemic, you know, we had some trifling times and stuff like that. Life seemed to be a bit more hopeful than what we currently are in. I feel like now we really have to literally make it an effort to be joyous, be happy, be conscious of our emotions. Whereas prior to the pandemic, I felt like it was like a default. Like, we just knew life was going to be a vibe. Even if we ain't have no money or the things that people value now in 2026, we didn't have any of that, and we still were just having an amazing time. So it's just interesting to think about. And maybe it's us maturing and becoming more adult. Instead of saying more money, more problems, it should say more age, more problems. Because I feel like that's what it is. That's when it becomes like a never-ending cycle of craziness and lore for me. But nevertheless, all I know is that, you know, sometimes we can't really control our outcomes in our lives, or we don't really know where the adventure is really going to take us. But in this reflection period that I had, I personally know that we as a collective can get back to these so-called glory days if we just put more effort. And so that's going to be the summation of all of this. Before I go on this rant about all the things that I miss, the goal is for us to navigate and steer course and be the leaders to get us back on the right timeline. I want to motivate y'all to, you know, sometimes we got to be the superheroes and be the ones to step up and change the world, girl, because clearly when you look to your right and to your left, the folks in charge, I don't want to say they don't know what they're doing, but girl, it feels like we've been in a standstill since 9/11, girl. I feel like we need to give ourselves like a pat on the back for being able to even navigate these wild times since we've been in day elementary school, it feels like. So anywho, I want y'all to just go ahead and sit back and relax and just reminisce with your girl, okay? We're going to go back to the time before the pandemic and what life was like back then. I'm going to be focusing on the energy that we embody as a society in like the late 2000s, early, mid, and late 2010s, that kind of era, you know, that early adulthood, I feel. without further ado, y'all, here is things that I miss about pre-pandemic life. Yeah. All right, y'all. Kicking things off, I must say, I definitely miss my monoculture moments. Like, to me, when I think of pop culture, when I live and breathe pop culture, when I think about what it used to be like in the glory days, it felt like everybody was literally on the same schedule. I couldn't wait to log on to Twitter to see everybody's reaction to everything. Even before we even had Twitter, we had forums that you would log on to, and that's where I used to hang out for my American Idol days. So on Tuesday nights and Wednesdays, well, in theory, I used to have to sneak onto the family computer. I already told y'all about that, but I used to speed through computer class, finish my assignment in like 10 minutes so I could use the rest of the hour for my computer class to be on the forums, cussing people out on those weekdays. And I knew that that was like round clock for me. I knew I was going to be flying through that. But just think about this. Do y'all remember when a new episode of Scandal would drop? Do y'all remember how like we would be twitching? I remember How to Get Away with Murder even like took it to another level, but I only watched like the first couple seasons of that show. But Scandal was revolutionary. I loved how Scandal merged traditional primetime television with social media. It was a perfect dynamic. Now I feel like it's gone beyond everybody want to overanalyze and give their 2 cents and give a whole, kind of like what I'm doing here with the weekly wind down. Everybody want to give a soliloquy about every single episode. But back then, I don't know, everybody just seemed to be on the same groove. And other shows, if you want to get like more urban, if you think of shows like Empire and Star, when those shows used to come on, I couldn't wait. The elements of this obviously came from TGIF on Fridays during the 90s. I get that. But ever since streaming got introduced, which was heavily promoted during the pandemic, that's when they got everybody doing these free trials of Hulu, Peacock, Netflix, all of them, Prime, who else? I had them all, girl, during the pandemic. But you know what I mean? They got us hooked on that. And so we had access so easily to things that it just threw us off the schedule. I've seen shows on Netflix currently introduce the format of releasing weekly, like Wednesday, or when they were doing Building the Band, they would release episodes weekly instead of just releasing the whole season at a time. And I really think that we should like move towards that because I preferred our social culture when it was paced like this. Like I felt like we actually had time to breathe, process, think about the episodes instead of just having everything so on demand. Hype dies out nowadays, and like what used to be something that would last like a year now dies out in like a 2 to 3 weeks, if that. That's like you did Legacy, you did Risa Tisa work if you lasted that long. But it's just because so many people are shoving so many different types of content at us, so it's hard to just be in that kind of groove that we used to be in. However, it's such a shame though. These artists, these actors, these singers, these producers, the people on set, they deserve so much more than that. Some of these shows, y'all, they take years to make. Game of Thrones, y'all remember how we used to be on Sunday nights for that? And I felt like it got its just due. We were so hyped about these seasons and everybody would just fellowship over this. Nowadays, girl, you know, Euphoria just launched, girl. Ain't nobody talking about this last season. It probably got like a little bit, like a couple, 3 days. Nobody cares. Isn't that sad? Zendaya already moved on to promoting Spider-Man with her man. I know that's right, girl. They was on the red carpet doing little reels. I said, oh, look at the married couple. There's just something so special about knowing the same song releases or experiencing pop culture moments like award show moments. Imagine Britney Spears' 2007 VMAs moments. Do we have those kind of moments nowadays? Think about it. I definitely also think like back in the past, it felt easier to connect with folks because we had like more shared experiences. Now that everything is so nuanced for everybody, it gives like you're going to the science fair convention instead of what it used to be like, which felt like an extended high school pep rally. Why is my mind on school? It's because class is in session. Hello, Professor Jerbear. Anywho, like I said, there are a couple shows nowadays that are still trying to give that weekly effect. I would say Love Island, but now I'm realizing that's kind of like almost an everyday thing, or the way that people are talking about it on TikTok. Oh my gosh, it kind of seems like that's like overconsumption. But like Big Brother or Summer House is kind of giving that weekly vibe. I really do prefer that rhythm, but I also can't fault people for being able to find their niche. Like I know there's my Drag Race girlies that will download every single app per season because you know RuPaul gonna switch from a network to a network. So I appreciate their dedication for trying something new to support their niche cult show, and I can't take that away from nobody. Nevertheless, it would be so dope to get back into that state of mind. So this is what we got to do, y'all. Popholics, we got to pick a show that we all gonna watch. We gonna start watching it together. Hashtag, y'all remember the cheesy hashtags that people would come up with? We gonna do the same shit. Rewire the system. We become the aunties and uncles. Ooh. All right, y'all. The next vibe I miss. Going out without everything costing a fortune, girl. Back in the day, I could have had like maybe $12, girl, and that would stretch. I could get a couple shirts from American Eagle. I could get a cookie from Mrs. Fields Girl, possibly a Frappuccino from Starbucks, and a little gas to get home. My lordy, like I feel like everything nowadays is you better bring out your calculator, girl, because it's going to be a calculation. You step out the house, it's a minimum $75 to $100 that you're going to spend. Whether it be the Uber, your matcha, or your latte, the lunch that you have, because goddamn, a Panera Bread, girl, is costing just as much as damn Houston's. Why are we paying $25 for Panera Bread for a half a sandwich and a salad? Like, I never understood that back in 2008. So the fact that people are doing that in 2026, they robbing y'all. Now, everybody that knows me knows in my old glory days in Los Angeles, girl, I was a party girl. I would be at all the functions. I would throw the functions, and then I would also be at somebody's house. Or even we loved us a Cabo Cantina moment, a brunch. I was always trying to arrange a dinner, go to the event. Like, it was always out, bam, bam. Back then, like I said, you could say yes if people invited you to multiple birthday dinners a week. Again, that was no problem. And it's so weird too. We never consider, oh, my social battery is drained. I didn't ever feel burnt out though to even consider those things. Or maybe I did. I don't know. I can't even remember in like my emotional state at this time. But I definitely didn't feel like my social battery was depleting, or I wasn't really considering like the things that I'm thinking about now, like health risk, or who I'm gonna be at the concert, or who wearing a mask. How much the day ticket cost, girl? Again, I always rant about this. Your girl was hitting up like 6 to 8 shows a year. I gotta get back to that. Like, hello, y'all heard me at the intro of this. I love me a concert. So I want us to be able to return to a mode where we could all attend all the functions we want to. It doesn't have to be a pick and choose, and we prioritize. And it's happening in all classes, because even the workaholics that's making all the money, they getting like double, triple they work, because they organizations are all like shutting down departments and overloading them with work. Oh girl, I've been seeing on the LinkedIn's and stuff. I've been still following corporate TikTok, girl. I know what's going on. They trying y'all. So it's hell for everybody at some point. But overall, this whole elimination of the middle class is very strange. Like, humans by default operate on community. We operate on just vibing out. That's why I love New York. You see people just sitting on the stoop, just kicking it, just chatting, smoking, doing what they do. But that's what we're supposed to be doing. So the fact that the world is changing to, we want to commoditize everything and put a price point on everything, every single vibe, to even when we step out the house, it's just like money spent automatically. Tap that card to get to the train or to catch the Uber or the gas. It's automatically just price. And I just think that's super strange. I would encourage y'all to find a city that has activities that don't require you to spend money. Like, that's why I love New York. You can have so much fun here. You can just go walking around and just sightsee and take pictures and stuff like that and feel like you've had a fulfilled day. However, the city is also built on a food and hobbyist style culture. So for me, my hobbies are dance classes, going to concerts, etc. And all of those have price points. And I'm also not trying to limit myself from having that coffee or that snack. Like, those would be things that I would do in Los Angeles. I would dismiss myself from like coffee dates or hanging out with people because I was always trying to budget or whatever. But those precious moments that you have with certain folks, or what you could create, that could be like the next stepping stone to your moment of joy that everybody's all trying to chase. Because the way the world has shifted, it's like changed how we interact. Even if it costs, I still say we should still prioritize fellowship and trying to connect with one another. If people are trying to hang out with y'all, make it a way to make sure that you can make the date happen. We definitely got to course correct this, because girl, I'm trying to be outside this summer. And not just for like pride and holidays and stuff like that. I just want to naturally be able to enjoy. I want it to feel like the New York and Sex and the City, girl. So, and I know I'm gonna find my way to make it feel like that. I guess a way we could get back to that is offering up more third spaces for people to hang out at. Again, I live in anomaly places because I was in Los Angeles. I'm in New York now, but I'm just thinking about my home girlies in like the Midwest, or even in the South, places like Texas where you got to drive 45 minutes to go have fun or feel adventurous. We need to get back to how the third spaces used to exist back in the day. Back then, y'all, in general, even in your own neighborhood, you talk to your neighbors. I remember we used to have keys at the neighbor house in case, like, I got locked out from school or something like that. They used to like not necessarily babysit, but just look out for your girl to make sure that I was all right. But I used to be friends with, the co-workers back when I used to do leasing back at UF. Those were the glory days. But those were some of the most fun jobs I had, because we was just working, or it was just about the work. It wasn't about like the extra drama or the stuff that you kind of hear about nowadays. I also feel like in general, friend groups, like not just your besties, but the cliques would gather more often for like either a watch party back when like Netflix actually started. So you had to get the DVDs in the mail, stuff like that. Those were fond times that I hope people could think in bringing back, outside of just, oh, I'm going to have a Super Bowl party and I'm going to make some buffalo wings. Like, y'all could just be doing that on a random Thursday night just because, have a little Uno night. I think the goal should be to like build community into everyday lifestyle. Like, just as dedicated as you can be to knowing you got to wake up and shower and go to work, we should eventually have at least 3 times a week something that makes you satisfied in that same sort, because that's how you create balance. That's how you can avoid this feeling of burnout, or I'm doing the same shit every day, getting in the car, driving to work, dealing with the same shit from my boss, coming home, gotta cook these groceries, gotta order Uber Eats. They turning y'all hoes into some robots, and y'all need to get back into the days where you said go kick it at the Borders and the Barnes and Nobles and go read the books for free. I used to spend hours at the bookstore, and I used to love that. That shit was so dope. Just reading, and my parents used to just drop me off at the shop. Maybe that's a Florida thing, I think, but just getting dropped off at like the shopping center, and then a couple hours later they come and pick you up, and I had a ball and barely, $10, and we made it work. You know what I mean? But it just providing those spaces in society just helps people feel a little bit more alive, and I think it also allotted more room for spontaneity and like random link ups with kids from other schools. Or for me, I was friends with a lot of my dance friends, and so we all went to the same dance studio, but we didn't go to the same high school. So getting to hang out with them outside of the dance studio was always a luxury for me as well, and I loved that. Now I feel like everything has to be plugged in a damn calendar. 3 weeks in advance. And that's only like 50-50 because people might cancel, you know what I mean? So that's ruining the aspect of spontaneity of your girlfriend just calling you up and being like, hey girl, you want to just go hang out after work? Like, what happened to that? We used to do this all the time. We shouldn't be treating our friends and family that same way. This is what people do for like their Slack and Zoom meetings and stuff like that. That's how the systems are setting us up to be. So overall, we just got to get to a point where in 2026 and moving into 2027 and into the future, where hanging out doesn't mean I got to spend the damn bag. And even for those who got it, that's amazing, but you don't need to. Just because you can do it doesn't mean that you need to, because there used to be a time where we could fellowship and have a good old time without the cost of things being at the forefront. It was the experience that led the journey, and we need to get back on that. And that's a shame that people have to worry about straining or maintaining their relationships based off of a budget and not on the principle of wanting to hang out with people. Like, that is such a shame. They are ruining the chemistry of camaraderie amongst humans, and I can't stand it. And they're doing it on purpose. Pay attention. I will say also in conjunction to that, now that everything has shifted into more of like a digital front and a digital third space, have y'all noticed that the attention spans of everybody has become so short? Like, girl, I can't even sit through a whole movie without fidgeting and trying to find my phone so I can go watch a couple of TikToks. And that's me being relaxed at home. That's not even me feeling like anxious on the train or just wanting a distraction. So I can only imagine everybody else going through these same vibes. Also, how do y'all feel about speeds? Like, if I could choose the perfect speed of life, not to fast forward through life, but just to watch and listen to people, I love 1.25. I think that is like the perfect speed to digest content. I'd be so annoyed when I don't get the opportunity to do that on certain apps. I'm just like, oh my gosh, please. But even that, like, we didn't have them damn choices back in the day. You just had to get what you get and you don't get upset. But I do feel the customization of things, or being able to pick and choose and fast forward and just have it on access in demand, was like heavily promoted during pandemic time. And so it's just so strange because they force us to sign up again for all these damn apps and watch all these movies just to drain us out. And now we can't even appreciate the art now in 2026. And don't even get us started on the strike girl. So we didn't even have no good old content for a good year and a half, 2 years. Whew, time is flying by. But yeah, before the pandemic, movies and albums and conversations in general, podcasts even held our attention way longer. But this could also be a catch-22 where the entertainment just feels less fragmented because there were no algorithms driving the content and its purpose and its direction. When we was on Instagram, y'all, we was looking at each other post each other's pics of our triple dipper at Chili's, girl. And we liked what we like to consume. I'm not saying that we don't now, but I feel like we find the things that we find because it's being studied by our behaviors instead of it just being like a natural flow. And sometimes that kind of ruins the fun of things. I think Baby Alpha's going to get us through this, but there's going to be a time where people are just going to shift back into just being. People just going to be just to be. That's what makes humans humans, in my opinion. And overall, we just need less pressure to constantly just be reacting to everything that's happening online. Like, getting back into them IRL experiences, whether I need to go back and start teaching a dance class or just have some breathing exercise, yoga, breathing at the park or something. I'm going to find some type of mission to be able to interact and know I'm doing my due diligence at bringing back community into this world. All right, y'all, I'm going to get into that pop shit. I know y'all say, I came on the weekly wind down to hear Jared rant about pop, not talk about life. Well, pop and life life are like intertwined for me. But if you a Popholic, you already know that. But anywho, as someone who loves my interactions with celebrities, influencers, anybody with a mission to put art out there and we align, I will say I slightly do miss the times where there was a lot more mystery and allure when it came to these celebrities and artists, y'all. Like, I remember being on the hunt to get like J14 magazines and Teen Bold just so I could read these little like one-page interviews or even be able to rush home from school to watch TRL. Those types of vibes were so fun because we were getting to know about these artists in like bite snap pieces. And this was over the time of years, y'all. It wasn't shoved in our faces in 24 hours. Finding out about silly fun facts like, you know, favorite colors and stuff like that felt like they were more of our friends, but from afar. Since the pandemic, y'all, celebrities got ushered into a class of normalcy like the rest of us. And in conjunction with them leveling out the playing field with that, this random third class, this sphere of influencers have been integrated into society. And they're also taken away from a lot of the allure of being a celebrity because we can have access to an influencer. So of course I'm going to go hang out with these people because I can talk to them 24/7. So then now what we're starting to see is celebrities adopt models of being an influencer to try to garner as much attention from their support and their fan bases, which is just such a wild thing to witness. In a way, like sometimes celebrities can almost overshare or be like telling too much of their business to us. And I feel like some of them probably feel so awkward because that's not what they signed up for. Some of them are like socially awkward or they didn't think that the spotlight would eventually morph into what it is right now. All they had was yesteryear. They had no clue what tomorrow was going to be. And now they got to be up there doing live streams. I done seen Colton Haynes, y'all, from Teen Wolf up there selling stuff on TikTok Shop, girl. Now, I will say the freedom that comes with being a celebrity that breaks the third wall on social media can be fun. I'm not gonna front, y'all. I love my era of Britney Spears twirling in that damn living room. And that's something that came forward, I think, thanks to the pandemic. So that is like a silver lining in the situation. But I think we all can agree that when it gets to the territory of oversharing and doing too much, I feel like this messes up the overall allure of being a celebrity. And so they should be mindful about not having to share everything with us. Or if they're gonna do it when it comes to a release of a new album or something of that sort. Keep the art alive. You know what I mean? Influencers and creators, they got their own thing going on. Y'all are the celebrities, so y'all rep what y'all do best. Don't feel like you got to get it like so intertwined, in my opinion. Because in 2026, it's becoming less about the art and more about just trying to make your presence known to where we're just getting a bunch of fluff thrown out there into the ethos. Now think about it, y'all. We used to be able to identify at least like 5 to 10 easy songs that could be the song of the summer. Now everything getting so flushed out that nobody can't even pick. And what artists are known more for is like appearing in the shade room. Like they constantly online, sometimes trying to get into beefs in the comments and stuff like that, which is so unnecessary because like at the end of the day, it's like I want to be shaking Nicki Minaj sometimes or like SZA and be like, do y'all not know who y'all are? Don't entertain this foolishness. However, this is also just an interesting time to pay attention to because nothing lasts forever, you know, especially in the realm of celebrity culture. We have to be able to adapt and mold with the times. And I think this is something that we're all witnessing before our eyes. We're all celebrities at the end of the day for each other. Now, in that same vein, it's so interesting to watch how parasocial relationships are developing online, especially from the consumer side of things with these said celebrities. Folks at home, folks behind the keyboards, be feeling so entitled and knowing and receiving all of this information in the first place, which makes the celebrities think that they have to act out of their normal character to feed us more information than what we already need. And I feel like this is not being clocked or diagnosed because think about it, normal humans don't do that. You don't go to a random stranger at your job or whatever and go share all of your business or expect them to share their whole life story with you. Now, granted, they're not seeking like celebrityism or fame, but at the same time, if we don't do that with each other, why are we expecting these celebrities to automatically just like shift and do that? Let them have their formats and let them do their thing. And we also be entertained by influencers. That's how I see it. Like celebs in the nicest way, y'all got to take some of y'all power back a bit. Right now, there's like a game of tug of war being played between y'all and the fans / consumers, and the fans winning. They yanking y'all, they pulling hard. So y'all gotta yank back a little bit. All right, y'all. So I felt like this one was a very interesting vibe because it's so true. And I had to step back and think about it with me because I was headed in like a very interesting direction this year. Obviously trying to be on like my entrepreneurial flow and make sure that I'm like prioritizing me and my efforts or whatever. But then realizing like, dang girl, you're not really pursuing any of the stuff that you actually love to do, which is like sketching, going to dance classes, reading books, just making videos just because you like to make them, not trying to like follow trends and stuff like that. And I think it's because there's this whole hustle culture that is trying to tell us that we have to like monetize every single thing that we do outside of our 9 to 5 jobs. This was not really a thing. Like, as anybody that I used to rock with in LA, they knew Jerry was always working, but it didn't feel that way. It didn't feel like I was having to monetize off of my love of the art of creative direction or video editing or anything like that. I was just doing my thing. And now it seems like, you know, if you like to bake cookies, you got to go sign up for the next farmer's market and get those cookies sold. And it's like, what happened to just liking to bake just because you like to bake? This definitely happened after the pandemic because people started to see, I guess, maybe how everyone got furloughed or laid off, or some people had to end up becoming essential workers and they didn't want to do that either. Everybody was like, oh, well, I got to be on my entrepreneur bag and I got to take, well, also this economy is kind of going loco. But at the same time, we do need to have some list of interests that we just like to do, y'all, just because we like to do them. I hate that there's just like this pressure for us to turn our content into a documented event where we have to document every single moment of our lives. And I'm saying that, mind you, releasing like 3 videos a week on my YouTube channel. That is more of me just kind of catching up to what I should have been doing like years ago. So y'all just getting like a software update from the world of Jer. But in reality, there should be a life where, yeah, I'm doing all that content and yes, that's for the world to see, but I also have a whole life of fun that the world doesn't even really have to know about because I don't have to post everything or my phone is not in my hand 24/7 recording everything. And that's something I definitely missed prior to the pandemic and shoot, prior to even social media, girl. Now, don't get me wrong, y'all. If you got your side hustle, now trust me, I got about 3, 4 going on right now that are hella active and honestly keeping me afloat here in New York. So very thankful for them. Why wouldn't you want to be able to make money off of your gifts? I'm never saying that, girl. Go do your thing. If you love it and you feeling in the groove, that's fine. But also realize, like, if you have something that you just like to do, is it gaming? Is it whatever? You do not need to go down the rabbit hole of, well, damn, I saw some streamer making $1 million doing this. Why am I not making $1 million doing that? I'm a failure at life. Well, maybe because you just like to play Dolls Mania, girl. Maybe that's why you didn't make that $1 million, because you just like to play the game. Sometimes it's just fun to learn and things are just fun to do just because. I encourage y'all, please color, draw, paint just because you like it, just because you love the arts. Create that song, write the song, hum it out into a voice note. Just do it just because you like to sing. Be the human first before the prophet. Shoot, be the kid in you. Let that inner child shine. That's who want to be seen and heard. So whatever they're curious about, lead with that and let that just rock out. All right, y'all. My last topic is the overall synergy that is in the atmosphere outside. Now, I do know a lot of that is always controlled by our inner mindset. And so I get that. And I also understand that the world was definitely trifling and we was definitely going through it prior to the pandemic. However, I would say, like, even prior to 2016, there was always a hint of like hope and optimism that just floated in the air. When you woke up, when you went to apply for a job, when you went to school, when, you know, you was meeting new people, when it came to courting, dating, like there was a sense of glee in America, regardless of your political affiliation, religion, all that kind of stuff. And again, keep in mind, we was going through a lot of hot messness. Now, I'm not blaming political influence on all of this, but it does seem like since a certain person got into office, a lot of the awkward, annoying people in the crowd of like hateration have gotten a bit more bold and like poking the bear or and being nuisances and throwing in wrenches into our parties, into our parades. And that's, I guess, maybe something that I wasn't used to. Maybe us millennials, we was just born at a good time, because I'm pretty sure the boomers of the silent generation, maybe they did have some like, but I just remember the atmosphere prior to the pandemic, prior to 2016, just feeling like I can believe, like we would hear these songs. What's the song with Twista? Cause I'm hopeful. Yes, I am hopeful for today. You would hear a song like that and actually be hopeful. Now someone writes a song like that and be like, girl, are you in La La Land? That's kind of sad if you think about it. Like, cause if you think about, like, I already know the saying that they say that life is a pendulum, but we want to be aiming for the swing of the pendulum that is going up, girl, and not like regressing backwards. But I feel like our mindsets control the direction. And if everyone is in this defeated mindset, we never gonna get back to them glory days. Y'all better go listen to Little Mix. But that will be my note. Go watch X-Men, go watch a superhero movie and realize that that's us, y'all. These people, these Stan Lees and all them people, they wrote about comics and they wrote about superheroes because they wanted us to be able to see versions of ourselves that were like superhuman. And it's true. That all lives within, and including our visions of what we want the world to be. I know it sounds so preachy, but in order for us to see things to change, sometimes we have to be the change makers in our environment. And that might be scary, especially for folks that are like myself, that love to be reserved, that love to kind of hide in the background and not be seen, just watch my housewives and do my thing. When we step out and we show out, y'all, that's when the revolution happens. And that revolution can possibly get us back to feeling like how the vibes were back in the late 2000s. Just something to think about. I hope I took y'all down a nice train down memory lane, but at the same time, y'all have y'all mission, you have your duty, you have your calling made by Jer Bear. I need y'all to get out in the streets and get us back on course, get us back on the right timeline where everything feel good, girl. I want to see y'all doing them damn flash mobs that everybody was doing in 2011. Where is Glee? You know what I mean? Like, we got to get back to the good days, y'all, because I can't do this no more. If you can relate, make sure to go ahead and give your girl a 5-star rating of this episode. Make sure to go ahead and share it with a friend. You know, that's what we do. We want to get more Popholics and pop heads into the sphere of Jer Bear, the world of Jer. But with that being said, this has been Jer Bear signing out of your favorite chat show, The Weekly Rundown. I appreciate y'all more than you'll ever know. And we'll chat next week. You already know the drill. Holla. Bye, y'all.